Get off.
I don't want to be in this.
All right, you ready? Okay. Once upon a time, in a land far, far away, there lived. I want to say Iraqis, but that just fits too easy. So we're gonna go away from Iraqis on this one. There lived 8 basketball players. I didn't say you, Jake. There lived 8 basketball players, and these basketball players were awful. They were just terrible.
Sure, I'm not talking about me.
Yeah, I'm sure I'm not talking about Jake, but they were terrible. Terrible basketball players. Matter of fact, they were wannabe basketball players.
Even more.
Okay. Be nice. Be nice. We are recording.
Let him tell his story. Come on now.
We are recording. They were terrible. They thought they were really good, but they weren't. They were just awful. Matter of fact, they'd walk in the gym. They'd walk in the gym, and people would be like, "You stink," and they'd be like, "Oh, what are you talking about? I'm like the most amazing basketball player of all time." Except for they couldn't win a game at all. Ever, Tom T. Ever.
Wood River?
Wood River-ish. Yeah. They're Wood River-esque. Okay, Wood River-esque. Okay? And so these 8 basketball players, they're just awful. Oh, they're just so bad. But they want to be good. Okay? They think they're really good and they want to be good, but they're really struggling right now. Okay? And they walk in the gym, people are just telling them how terrible they are. So they think about this and they think, how can we get people to think that we're really, really good basketball players? How can we do that? And so the first thought they had is, I know what we can do. If we drove up and down Main Street in a fire truck, that would make them think that we were state champions. So first thing they do is my story, please. Focus. Okay, it's all about focus right now, please. Okay. So the first thing they do is they all pile into this fire truck. And they're driving up and down Main Street, and the sirens are going off, and they think they're state champions, but they're not, because they are terrible. They're awful. And getting in a fire truck's not going to help them out at all. Even though they thought that it would, but it didn't. It didn't help them out at all, and all the people were so like, oh, you guys are just terrible. Why are you guys in a fire truck? You guys aren't state champions. You guys are like the losers out there. So they get off the fire truck, and they think, oh, what can we do to make people think that we're really, really good at basketball? And so they think about it, and they think about it, and they think, maybe if we had a training table all the time, they would think we're like professional athletes. And so they spend their week, and they go to training table every day, and they order steak every day.
Steak.
Special training. Yeah, they ordered steak at training table, and they ate, and the only thing that happens is they just got bigger and bigger and bigger. Not better basketball players, because they're just eating up the steak, no vegetables.
So he puts a life lesson into this.
Yeah, exactly. You know how I am.
Okay.
So they walk in the gym thinking, hey, we're really awesome now, and everybody's like, oh, you guys are terrible. Get off our court. So they think about it, and they think about it, and they think, wow, what can we do? So they all decide, hey, let's go to Boondocks when all the little kids are there, and we'll just go over there and we'll just put all of our quarters in and we'll just shoot hoops. And all the little kids will think we're like the best basketball players ever, because they can't do what we do. And so they go to Boondocks about 10 o'clock in the morning when all the little kids are there, because there's no everybody else is at school, and so they put all their money in there, and they start shooting hoops. The only problem is they can't make a basket, and so all the little kids are just making fun of them, and they're just like, oh, you guys are just terrible basketball players.
That's what the little kids are saying?
The little kids are saying, the little kids, Bradford, are saying this. Okay, that's like Connor and Jordan coming in here and saying, you guys suck. Okay?
Beating them up.
What they told you, they said, you suck?
No.
Oh, well, that wouldn't surprise me for my kids.
Oh, I thought you were saying that because it was 8th grade.
Exactly, and so they get really frustrated. They get really frustrated, and they decide they get out of Boondocks because it's no good. Okay, it's no good. So they think about it, and they think about it, and they think, man, we need a teacher. We need somebody that can show us how to play basketball, because obviously we're terrible. And so that's exactly right. They go into Mr. Sharp's history class. The only problem is Mr. Sharp's not in there. there's this crazy guy in there called Mr. Paris. and Mr. Paris watched game tape all the time. Okay? As Braden would know, he would be watching game tape, and Mr. Paris would be making comments all the time on what we could improve on.
Yes.
And so these 8 basketball players think, man, Mr. Paris is legit. He is awesome. Okay? He's got to be awesome. Okay? No, this isn't fiction. No, this is a factual story.
Lie, isn't it?
Could have just said non-fiction.
Okay, this is factual.
It's factual, okay? Now, so Mr. Paris is in there, and he's in there, and he's watching game tape, and he's making comments. The only problem is nobody else is in there. He's watching this, and he's trying to become a really good coach. And so these 8 basketball players go in there, and they ask Mr. Paris, hey, Mr. Paris, how do we become a better basketball player? Mr. Paris tells them, you gotta wear your shorts really high. And they gotta be short shorts, of course, because that's what gets girls these days.
There we go.
And you gotta grow a beard. And you gotta be a terrorist. So these basketball players, they go out there, they go to the Nike store and they buy these short shorts.
Do they fall in the Nike store?
The extra smalls. No, they don't bomb the Nike store, but they could have because they're terrorists now. Right? So they get the extra small shorts, but they're really tight on them. And they're
Where are
trying
you
to
going
run.
with that?
What's that?
I said, where are you going with that?
Hey, relax. I got the store under
I
control.
want to change mine to Soap Wars.
You can't change.
I want to change mine to Soap Wars.
You can't change yours.
But what about one that hasn't happened yet?
No.
Penguins.
No, we're not changing anything. I've already got the story in my head. Okay, so these guys are playing. Their shorts are really tight. They're short shorts, and everybody's just laughing at them. And Mr. Paris is sitting on the sideline, and he's actually probably sitting on a desk or something. With his legs crossed, he's sitting inside at half court, and he's chanting for his team to go, and everybody's booing him. Oh, you guys are terrible. You guys are awful.
And you're automatically going to be good.
I'm automatically going to be good.
With this, you guys can.
With this. So everybody, they hate him. They hate him. These basketball players, their self-esteem is going farther and farther down. Farther and farther down. They can't figure out why people don't like them. So they think about it. They all get in a huddle, and Mr. Paris is in there now, and they're all talking, and they're all talking about what can we do to get people to like our style of basketball, because we are innovators, and man, we are the future of basketball. We are so awesome. And so they think about it, and they think about it, and think about it, and they think, well, if we're going to innovate things, let's change the way basketball is played. And so they start making up all these rules. And the first rule they make is they're going to start using an octopus as a basketball. So they go to the ocean, and they catch an octopus.
They can't play basketball, but they can catch an octopus.
Well, they put on their snorkel and things, and they dive down there. They probably paid somebody to catch the octopus for them. So they
That
catch
part
this
was fuzzy.
octopus, and they think, man, okay, now we're going to be octopus. We're changing the game of basketball, and people are going to love it. And so they're playing basketball with this octopus. The only problem is every time they shoot, the octopus spreads out its legs and never goes through the rim. And so people think they're just worse than what they really are. These guys are really bad. Okay? These basketball players are terrible. Okay? They're terrible. And so they're thinking, well, the octopus thing didn't work. What if we play basketball in the North Pole? Right, Tommy? Okay. There's not very many people up in the North Pole. So they start scheduling all these games up in the North Pole because they figure out people aren't going to laugh at us up in the North Pole. So they start scheduling all these different basketball games up in the North Pole. And so they start traveling up the North Pole. The only problem is, how many people live up in the North Pole?
None.
Nobody, right? They've got some Santa Claus. They've got Santa Claus there, but he's too good for them. Okay, they've got all these.
He's like, you suck. You don't.
You suck. You're on my bad list. Okay. They've got all these scientists up there, but besides that, they've got to schedule games with these penguins. And so they're playing against these penguins. They're like waist high, right here. So they're playing this game against these penguins. Hey, laughing at my waist. Penguins.
It's a fun word, Chuck.
It is a fun word. Penguins is awesome. And so they're playing basketball against all these penguins, and the penguins are like swatting them. They're little flippers. They're going. then the people, they're like laughing at him. There's walruses in the stands. they're all like laughing at these poor boys. And so the boys thought, geez, maybe the North Pole wasn't the best idea for us. So they go back to Wood River, and
So it turned out to be Wood River. See?
it is. They're 8 terrible basketball players. Come on now. So they're back there and they're thinking, man, what can we do to get better? So they finally decide, man, we need to go to the Middle East. I mean, obviously those Iraqis, they play basketball. I mean, they only speak English. So they fly out to the Middle East, and they're starting to play these Iraqis. And no lie, they're beating the Iraqis. They're flat out kicking them, man. They're taking it right at them. They're making layups. They're hitting their jumpers. And these Iraqis are just terrible at basketball. I don't know why, but they are. They're awful. And Wood River's like, man, we can stay here forever. And so they make a little camp out in Iraq, and they're gonna play Iraqis. They're gonna play Iraqis for the rest of their lives.
Camp out.
And so they're on a winning streak. They've won like 10 games over in Iraq, and they're doing fantastic. They're just awesome over there, and they're thinking, hey, we're pretty awesome. So they might go over to Iran eventually, but we're going to stick with Iraq for right now. So they're sitting there, and it's getting really late at night. They just won their 10th straight game. They're like, man, we are awesome. So they all lay down. They all lay down, and they start going to sleep.
Tiny Tim.
And all of a sudden, Tiny Tim comes in, and he starts singing. Sing it for me, Simon.
I don't know. What is it?
Oh, can somebody sing it for me?
I just know.
All right, thanks, perfect. And they hear this annoying song.
Scary.
Scary annoying. This annoying, scary, annoying.
Creepy Sandusky soap opera type deal.
This Sandusky soap opera.
He was a
Scary.
He was
annoying
the first suspect of the Sandusky trial.
The first victim.
The first victim.
This is definitely going online.
And so
Soap
they hear
operas.
this song, and they all get really scared. They're like, oh my gosh, what are we supposed to do? We're winning basketball now. We're winning basketball now, but now we can't live here because we're scared. You laugh. So they're all scared of this Tiny Tim and his singing. Is it a ukulele that he plays? Sure. A ukulele. And a harp of human hairs. And so he's really scared, and so they figure, they listen to the song, they're like, we've got to get out of here. We've got to flat out, we've got to leave. We've got to leave. So these 8 basketball players, they pick up and they go back to Wood River. And they think, man, you know what? We may be terrible, but we're not going to die. And so they learn to live with being a bad basketball player. And they still got on that fire truck, and they still rode up and down Main Street. But people still hated them. And so the moral of the story is, don't go to Wood River.
Amen.
Amen to that. All right, shut your phones off.